So, if you clicked on this video and you feel like you need a reminder on why we're boycotting, I'm going to talk about this guy, Scott Bessent, one of the Orange McNuggets trolls, who is blaming the US tourism decline on everything else except for their administration, even our own Canadian economy, basically insinuating that we can't afford to travel. This guy here, along with Pam Bondi, and the rest of the US administration and the Orange McNugget, are the reason why for my boycott. And every time I hear someone from the administration, my US boycott just gets refueled. Now, many of you have actually sent me an article as well as a video from Forbes, and I'm going to discuss this as well. Because the caption here, it actually says, unlike most travel boycotts, which tend to fizzle over time, Canadians show no sign of relenting on a national movement that cost the US $4.5 billion. So I'm going to talk about this in today's video. And I'm also going to show some comments from your fellow Canadians in the Forbes post. All right, let's get started with Scott Bessent's testimony.
Dealing with this issue. So my question to you is, will you apologize for driving away visitors and hurting our working families?
A couple of things, Senator. One is the Canadian economy is doing poorly, so perhaps part of that, maybe we should deconstruct why Canadian tourism is down.
Well, I can answer that one. It's down because of you and the rest of the administration. It has nothing to do with our own economy in Canada. We're still traveling globally, and we're still traveling within our own country. Nothing has changed with our travel patterns, except for the fact that we're not going to your crap country. Now, I never want to encourage violence, and I condone it. But this guy's got a very punchable face.
And two, that it's a choice by the Canadians in terms of where they want to go. And so if you think that should we pull down all of our trade barriers with China so that 1.4 billion people can fill up the hotel rooms in Las Vegas?
Actually, your trade barriers and tariffs are the reason why the world's staying away from your country. But for us in Canada, there's a stack of other reasons too why we're not going to be visiting the United States. But here's what really bothers me about this administration. I'm going to do my best to try to get what's in my head out on the mic. But everything we're seeing right now is because of a cause and effect. The cause is this guy, along with the 77 million people that voted for him. And the effect is this. Now, I'll be honest, I'm getting tired of these US government officials like Scott Bessent, Pete Hoekstra, the Kentucky Bourbon Dude, all blaming Canada because of our boycott. Essentially just blaming the effect and not the cause. But what disappoints me though is that after the Orange McNugget is long gone, a very good portion of that 77 million who voted him in will still continue to blame the effect. And I'm just being real here. Canada is still going to continue to be blamed for their downfall long after the Orange McNugget is gone. I hope this makes sense. It's crystal clear in my head, but I just don't know if I did the delivery right. But let me know in the comments, and if it's not clear, maybe I'll do another video on it.
So this is the data from the Commerce Department, this administration's Commerce Department on National Travel and Tourism Office, year-over-year declines in travelers from October 24th to the 25th. It's not just from Canada, it's from Germany, it's from the Netherlands, it's from Australia, it's New Zealand, it's India, it's Vietnam, it's Philippines. We are seeing under this administration a U.S. Travel Association travel forecast that is dealing with now nearly a $70 billion travel trade deficit for 2025. So how do you intend to address the tourism travel issue that we are losing money in this country because of the policies of this administration?
Is overall the occupancy in Las Vegas down or more Americans going?
Again, I don't condone violence at all, but he really does have a punchable face. But let me correct him here. Even if you're depending on domestic tourists, Las Vegas is still down for 2025. There's so much wrong with what he just said. But it also shows the ignorance and arrogance that the US administration has.
I'm talking about internationally. It's not just me, it's Florida, it's other states that are dealing with a decline in tourism. And this is my conversation with you for the last year that seems to be this administration keeps ignoring. It is a billion, trillion dollar industry to this country, and you don't seem to think it is important.
So it's pretty obvious that Scott Bessent and the rest of the US administration don't give a shit about their tourism industry. So we'll take our money somewhere else. Now, I know a lot of US businesses are going to say we didn't vote for this, or this is not our choice. Oh, let's not forget those businesses that said that they were the victims because of our boycott. The only thing I have to say to that is talk to your president. It has nothing to do with us. Now, on a happier note, well, at least for us outside of the US, this Forbes video really shows the impact that Canadians are making to the United States tourism industry. Let's take a look.
1 year into a boycott of U.S. destinations, Canadian travelers have cost the American economy $4.5 billion and show no inclination of returning in 2026 as trips to the U.S. took another tumble in January. The number of Canadians taking road trips into the U.S., the most common way of visiting, dropped by 27% last month compared to January of 2025, according to data released Wednesday from Statistics Canada. There was also an 18% year-over-year decline in air travelers from Canada in January. January was the 12th consecutive month of steep declines in inbound Canadian travel, with double-digit year-over-year drops in both car and air travel to the US every month since April.
You remember in the beginning when some of the US businesses just said that this was going to be a phase, where the Canadians will be back eventually, where they can't resist coming back to the United States? I know I've been looking for a video that I did in my early days. It was a report out of Maine from, I think, from a photography studio, where the owner basically said that yes, his business is down, but he thinks the whole boycott thing is hype, and it's just a phase that we're going to go through. I've been having a hell of a time trying to find that article again, and I can't find it. But if I can find it, I will definitely feature it again, because his comments aged like milk in the desert.
The volume of Americans visiting Canada was essentially flat in January, with 0.5% fewer Americans heading north compared to a year ago. In 2025, 4 million fewer Canadian travelers visited the U.S. than the previous year, a 22% drop, according to the U.S. Commerce Department's National Travel and Tourism Office. The U.S. Travel Association warned a year ago that even a 10% reduction in Canadian inbound travel could translate to $2.1 billion in lost spending and 140,000 jobs jeopardized in the hospitality and related sectors.
Now, the commentator says something that I think everybody needs to remember. It doesn't take very much to affect the US economy, even 10%. I don't know what we're at right now, but whatever percentage we're at now, I already know that it's making a big dent in the United States. And one thing I do know, it's not going to get any better, and it's most likely just going to get worse.
The actual decline was more than double that hypothetical drop, given that Canadian tourists spent $20.5 billion in the US in 2024, a 22% decline in visitation in 2025 translates to an economic hit of roughly $4.5 billion. In the years leading to 2025, Canadian tourists were the biggest single source of international visitors to the US, making up roughly 1/4 of all foreign travelers who come to the country, according to the NTTO. The relationship between Canada and the US has been strained by President Donald Trump's hefty tariffs on the country's goods and repeated threats to make Canada the 51st state. The U.S. House voted Wednesday to block tariffs Trump levied against Canada last year, with 6 Republicans joining Democrats despite the president making threats against GOP lawmakers who went against him. For more on the story, check out the article at the link in the description.
Now, instead of showing the article, I actually wanted to show you what your fellow Canadians and even some of the US citizens are saying about this. Okay, so this is the Forbes post that relates to the video that I just showed you. And I want to show you some of the comments that Canadians and even US citizens are posting up. All right, the first set of comments. This won't fizzle. We won't visit the United States under the Trump administration and might not return even when he's finally gone. Those days are over. This other person says, if I return, when MAGA is no longer in control of the administration, it will not be to any red state, as the majority of those who voted for those states voted for what's happening right now. They may say, I didn't know it was going to be like this, but a lot of people warned them. They voted with and for hate. Moving on to the next one, let's see. Adam says, it's not a boycott. You would have to be a complete idiot to travel to the US right now as a foreign citizen. Full stop. We did this to ourselves. And it's actually nice to hear this from a US citizen. I mean, I know there are a lot of you watching this video right now in the US that are fully aware. But as I have mentioned in my last few videos, there are too many of your fellow citizens that are way too apathetic and simply do not care about what's going on. So I hope that changes in the future. Moving on to, let's take a look at another one. I, for one, am surprised at our plan of threatening to invade them and create a scary landscape in which we might need to check passports or deport at any time is not bringing on the travel. Weird. I totally got the sarcasm there, and it's true, unfortunately. Let me find a couple more for you guys. Many Canadians may simply choose not to put themselves in harm's way. US citizens are being shot, beaten, and detained. And oh hell no, Canada says, that's exactly what we're doing. We aren't nuts. We see it all. We definitely see it all, and to be honest, we probably see more than most of the average US citizens. Let me try to find one more for you. Hi Forbes, it's not the tariffs. It's the fascism problem that you all refuse to address. And also that we are considerably less tolerant of child rapists leading our country. I'm available if you need to pull an article next time you publish a "Why aren't Canadians coming anymore?" article. Just hit me up. Hey, I'm available as well. And I would love to actually have the media in the US actually ask a Canadian what their thoughts are. I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting kind of tired of hearing these US tourism officials making up strange ideas on why we're not visiting them. I mean, just ask the source. But then again, I'm sure they don't want to hear the truth. All right, that's all I got for today's video. But I do hope this video helps to reaffirm why we are actually boycotting. I mean, you got Scott Bessent in the beginning, and his ignorance helped refuel my boycott. But I do hope that the Forbes article, or the report, or the video that I just did, helps to reassure you that yes, we are still making a difference. And I think my biggest takeaway from that video, at least for me personally, was the fact that it only needs 10% to cause chaos south of us. And we are well over that right now. That percentage is only going to get worse for the United States this year. Okay, I have to get going. But don't forget about the petitions. The links for them are in the description below, as well as the pinned comments. If you found any value in anything I said today, or you want to hear more from a Canadian perspective, and not a US perspective, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button below. Thanks everyone, I'll see you in a bit.